Hello, everybody. I hope you all are doing well. Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We are back. We are going to reveal who the true friend, quote-unquote friend of Miss Pavlova is. So, it's clearly marked by this photograph frame. Look at the photograph in this frame. This must be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away. She is exceptionally beautiful, isn't she? Yes, that's true. But personally, it's the little black creature she's holding that's caught my eye. Maybe we better take a closer look at this. Look at the little cat Miss Pavlova is cuddling here. Oh, what a cute little kitten. It could vie with you, couldn't it, Naruto-san, for the black set outfits? A black kitten. And from the look of it, this picture at least, Miss Pavlova seems very attracted to. Oh, the bell. This is the same bell that's on the kitten. It's the same bell that's on the floor, but it's like cut in half. Without doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us. Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear. Oh no. The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear, but what is clear is that you brought the animal with you and you ran away, didn't you? Hit spot on. Darka. Darka? That's a pretty name for a black cat, I guess. Darka is my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind. Darka would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet, the fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question of the speckled band. Oh god, it's a snake. Where did the snake come from? Whereas regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit the description in any way. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was the sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this. But it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying but failing to conceal can only be the snake's loose skin. But it's not. Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back. If she's just left it in her pocket, no one would have ever known. That's very true. Oh, ploys like that are Mr. Eshop's specialty. He's ever so clever to force her to reveal something. I thought deduction was his specialty. Or maybe making me believe that was a ploy too. Anyway, I find it hard to believe that that is the skin of a snake. In which case, just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back? Okay, let's take a better look, because I can't really see it. Oh, it's just a little toy for like a kitty. Well, it is speckled, and it is a band, but what is it? It seems to be soft and fluffy, a long piece of cloth of some sort. And that looks like a handle at the one end. I think it could be a cat's toy. This is sort of common in the West, apparently. How is that toys for cats? Cats like to chase a band around and paw at it. Kittens in particular love that sort of play. You only need to wave it in front of them, and they pounce to catch at it. Ah, that sounds positively adorable. Alright, so the cat's toy. Let's present that. It's so cool when these things break the glass. Yes, the thing you are trying but failing to conceal is, a cat's toy. Precisely. The true nature of the now infamous speckled band. And it was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. You waved it around, I presume, naturally. The victim could not fail to notice it. But why? For what real reason? My dear boy, there can only be one answer to that. After her feline fan disappeared through the ventilator into the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return. Ah. Makes sense, makes sense. In summary, the nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova's which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian blue breed of cat by the name of Darka. Gah! You know, after all that doesn't really help us with our case at all. A truly troublesome feline young Darka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You'll forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova. Alright, so we got the photograph. It was after I gave her food last night. That's when it happened. Let me guess, something completely unrelated. She scratched the back of my hand and then ran up the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she disappeared into the ventilator. Darker, she is so naughty. You think when the kitten climbed up the thing, it would have ring the bell and someone would have came? Okay. Are we still doing something? Oh, okay. Moving on. We come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. I feel like she has nothing to do with it, but we'll see. How did this young man lose his life and why? According to the data from which I have been apprised, it would appear that there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Well, no. What Mr. Sholmes says is true. If there were no signs of a wound, then blah blah blah. That's right, Mr. Sholmes seems to be unaware of an important detail. He wasn't poisoned. Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now. Oh, that's right, he doesn't have... Where is it? Post-mortem report. Time of death, blah blah blah, some result, no traces of poison. Excuse me, sir?
Yes!
We would like to have you read those forms. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report. Ah, yes. I knew it was one or the other. Yeah, you haven't read it. His neck was... Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only the Goliath that would be strong enough to survive that. Seaman Stroganoff isn't some immortal freak, you know. The jury is out. Anyway, we have a good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Was it broken by a snake? Or was it by that guy? Now, if we take that in facts, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. Oh no, could there be? Yes, an examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of death conclusively. Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something or someone. Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found though. Presumably, Darker didn't silently creep up behind and deal a fatal blow to Kazuma. I suppose it's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. It could have been a terrible act of misfortune that led to break his neck completely by accident. Oh yes, a bad fall could explain it. It's rather hard to believe Kazuma-sama though. He wasn't a clumsy man. Well, we need to fix this deduction somehow. Is there anything from the scene that could explain what happened? We do have this, a mark on the floor. Maybe we could try presenting this. Alright, that seems to have worked. Yes, an examination of the mark on the floor will prove that the cause of death conclusively. This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish. Shoe polish? Indeed, positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dyes were my results. An undeniable ingredient of shoe polish. And the color of the polish is perfect, matched to the color of Mr. Sogi's lace leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Sogi must have caught his foot at a point on the floor and tripped. Please, no. and by a dreadful turn of misfortune caught his neck against something immovable object as he fell on the floor. Oh, was it seriously an accident that got him killed? That sounds very sad. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant he lost his life. No! I didn't know anything about this. Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Osogi lost his life? Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama merely tripped over and now he's no more? That can't be true. I refuse to accept it. I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest something happened. And if this part of Mr. Shome's deduction is right, Miss Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction that she cast her eyes. Where, I wonder? Let's have a look around. The answer must be around here somewhere. Oh, saw something. What could it be? I mean, we have the tiara here, but I don't quite believe it's that. Is it? Well, it's not the traveling case, because I guess it's obviously not that. Let's take a look at the tiara. Ah, somebody appears to have dropped 20,000 rubles here. It hasn't been dropped, Naruto-san. It's been placed. I'm starting to sound like Mr. Sholmes. Stop trying to sound like the good detective. Okay, I'm sorry. What else can I observe? In the waste paper basket. This is a waste paper basket. Perhaps all of the first class cabins have them. But Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late night. Presumably, there's not much rubbish in there yet. Oh, hello. What's that? It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it? Yes, it is. And I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. It looks familiar. Can I present that? Yes, it's inside the waste paper basket. That's right. You hid evidence that links you to the victim's death in that waste paper basket. Here we have a fragment of some intricable glass object, it would seem. One that has a familiar air, in fact. Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Osogi's cabin. And as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly. Oh no. So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that part of glass object which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death should be found in the waste paper basket in your cabin? Well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not? It seems like it's starting to wrap up. I don't know, in that hushed Russian accent of yours, won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question. What? Take it away, Mr. Naruto. Yes. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell, that would be... Sorry, I don't think I followed along in that part. Oh, well, yeah, of course. It's the photo of the cat in the bell. If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see, hanging from Darka's collar, is the very glass bell in question. That's a big bell to give to a small cat that's pretty close to the floor. The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. And the cause of that fateful stumble your absent feline friend Darka. I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry. Alright, well, will the truth come out now? It'd be good if I don't have to put back the handcuffs. Deduction complete. Elementary. Gosh, these deductions can be a bit tiring sometimes, just reading all of that. But is that really it? He just fell? Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? That's exactly what happened last night. I feel like there's more to this. It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, but I hadn't had time to feed Darker, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hands. People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments. She was so fast, she disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her. And that is how you acquired the rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it? Yes. And I had read the, rules on the wall. I knew that I was not allowed Darker with me. Yes, modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious disease. It's a precaution, really. So I listed and listened, trying to hear if there was some noise in the cabin next door. It was very quiet. I was sure if someone was there, he must have been sleeping. So at that point, you thought it was safe to try and lure him back again. By dangling the end of the toy through the ventilator in adjoining 2 cabins, Darker always loved this toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her softly, but she didn't return. So the faint whistling sound Kazuma wrote in this cabin was Miss Pavlova trying to retrieve her pet. Cats have a prosperity to remain hidden in shadows when frightened. Yes, so there was nothing else I could do. I just had to wait until she had calmed down. But then... Oh, she appeared? Is the cat back? Has the cat returned? I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out and then... Oh, it was such a dreadful bang. Then afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent. Kazuma was... From the appearance of the brown mark on the floor, it seems likely that you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping. The SS Bureau is a large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. Mr. Sogi was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet. The combination of unfortunate factors could easily have caused him to fall over. That is really, really unfortunate. But what became of the kitten afterwards? Do you know? In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator. Yeah, Darker is nowhere to be seen. I must have forgotten to lock my case. And now she's disappeared again. Gracious, that cat is as insufferable restless as I am. Well, he knows something about himself at least. Alright, so there must be more to this because she doesn't sound like she went into the cabin. When I woke up this morning, I heard that a young man in the cabin next to mine had died, but I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. I was too scared. Scared that they would send me back. Oh, hold on a minute. What about the snake? You're right. Where is it? If that snake isn't your friend, Miss Pablo, then whose is it and where did it come from? It's his! What on earth is such a dangerous creature doing on board the ship? Oh, I didn't say. Snake is my friend. His name is Piroshka. What? That snake belongs to you. He escaped from cage when emergency alarms sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him here. Yes, how did that snake get in this cabin? Animals are not permitted on board. Ha! We are at sea for 1 year. You want to be so long without a close friend, without someone who understands? Couldn't you find someone a little more human? Understand you better? But my dear burly fellow, a gargantuan venomous snake, surely you can appreciate the dangers you're putting everyone in. No venom. Huh? Hiroshiko does not have venom. He is harmless. Very long, very gentle. He is adorable like a granny. Oh, he looks like he doesn't have fangs. Unless they're retracted. It's venomless. Yes. Now he is hungry, so he's in a bad mood. But once I feed him, you'll see big smile. And you feed him milk, I suppose. Like they say, they milk chickens. Ridiculous. Snakes that drink milk are only in stupid stories. Hiroshiki eats mouses, big fat round mice. That's why he has a mouse trap. Oh, and so is that what the mouse trap in the passageway out there was for? Of course. How else can I catch my friend's favorite food? Nothing says top notch of the food chain like the look in their eyes right now. Well, at least with the snake, you don't have to feed it every day. Probably just like once a week or twice a week, probably. But with a big fat snake, you probably don't have to feed it for like 3 weeks. It refuses to drink milk. It can't hear a whistle. It can't climb up a bell cord. It's not even venomous. Oh, the deuce did something so inept land a stirring roll. It's not my fault. I did not make up stories. My Puroshko is nothing to do with this incident. Mr. Sholmes and the snake crisis is hilarious. So that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death. No, the feeling's gotta be more. No, come on guys. There's more. There's more to this. There's a lot of unanswered things. Miss Pavlova? I understand the difficult situation you've found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this. A young man lost his life. If you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then... no matter what the circus said, I cannot forgive you. But... what are you talking about, Miss Mukatoba? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything. Oh, she sees something. It was just a series of unfortunate events, an accident. Oh, yeah, I think he's about to understand too. I'm no great detective like Mr. Sholmes. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But even I can see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruto? Well, yeah, there's a lot of unanswered things. To be perfectly honest, yes. There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure of it. I can't quite put my finger on it. I mean, there's the lack of anyone mentioning about the text that he wrote. I confess, I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on this matter. Oh! I am only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruto, are simply a distraction. A distraction? I do hope you've not been finding your shackles too uncomfortable. Not again. When did he do that? Especially as they're on your wrists as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made our next port call. You were, Mr. Sholmes? Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours, was he not? Yes? Kazuma was my closest friend. I owe him my freedom, even. In that case, we must follow this to the conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruto. Yes, whatever that may be. The key to this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure. If I can chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear. Man, they really make it really vague just for you to be like, oh, I do know. The truth about how you really died and how about that scene in the cabin really came to be. All right, let's see what I can do. Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Naruto. So then, shall we begin? Yes. What we should ponder first is the victim who lost his life in the cabin that was bolted shut from the inside. Was this truly an unfortunate incident? Or was it in fact no accident at all? That this what we must establish in the first instance. But we've already established it, haven't we? The man tripped over the kitten that climbed into his cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, yes, but still an accident. Wait, let's just take a step back. It doesn't make sense if that's really what happened, does it? I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid. Yes, I'm starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts in Miss Pavlova's story here. The evidence is right in there in Kazuma's cabin. It's undeniable. His death couldn't have possibly been a mere accident. Really? Let us show you our hand, Mr. Naruto-san. Time to present the evidence. The evidence that proves unequivocally that the victim's death was no mere accident. I mean, the only thing that I could really present really is just this writing of the crime scene.
Yes!
The truth is clearly recorded in this photographic print. There's no way that Mr. Osogi could have left this message on the floor. That script. It's Russian, isn't it? Indeed it is. The word means wardrobe. I see what you mean. Most people would leave a dying message in their native language. Japanese in this case. But maybe he was studying Russian. It's a simple language. He could have picked it up very fast. That doesn't seem likely. I don't think Russian's very simple. That's actually not the point. It makes no difference whether he knew Russian or not. Sorry? What do you mean? Exactly what I said before. There's no way that Mr. Sogi could have left this message on the floor. And the reason why is clearly explained in here. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in an instant death. Instant death. Which means, after the victim fell to the floor, he couldn't possibly have written anything, because he was already dead. That's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Sogi's cabin. A remnant of something that couldn't possibly have been there if Miss Pavlova told us was true. What? The Susetsu-san hadn't noticed it either. Putting the message on the floor aside, there's something else that gives away the truth. Another piece of evidence that proves this was no accident. In other words, let me see. What do I present? Let's see. We have this mark on the floor and the bell. Let's see. Another piece of evidence that proves this was no accident. I mean, we have a paper seal that would stick over the doors of the wardrobe that says "Keep Out" in Japanese. Though I'm not sure the Russian crew can actually read it. I mean, is this just to really affirm that he knew Japanese instead? I can't really... I feel like maybe this?
Yes!
That's my first instinct. This piece of broken glass next to the mark on the floor. That's the glass bell the kitten had around its neck. We already know all about it. It was broken in half, which the victim tripped over the cat and fell. Oh yeah, that's true. And then why is the other half in her room? So I already have a satisfactory explanation. Where's the flaw in that logic? Unfortunately, there was a very big flaw. A fatal flaw. What? If that's really what happened, then how did one half of the bell end up here in this cabin? Yes, remember that we found the other half of the glass bell in the waste paper basket. Would you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova? Oh no. Both these pieces of evidence clearly points to the same conclusion. That when Mr. Osogi died last night in this cabin, there was someone else in the room. And that same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth in order to cover up her own guilt. So did she actually do it? Yes, there was someone else present in Mr. Osogi's. You are wasting time. Someone else was there. Duh, of course, we know this. What are you talking about? Bulkhead was bolted shut from the inside. There was no way in or out. Oh, yes. The only other person in this cabin when the young student died was you. It's true, I was in the cabin when it happened. You were shut inside the cabin wardrobe, to be precise about the details. But I don't know Russian. There's no way I would have left that message. Not would have. There's no way you could have left that message, to be precise about the details. Would you mind? Okay. Forgive me, my dear fellow. As I was saying, the person in question wrote the word wardrobe in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even though I had been asleep in there the whole time. And then the same person picked up the broken glass bell that had fallen on the floor, for the fear of it becoming evident that it would show Mr. Osogi really died. But why would the person have taken all the pieces of the bell and ran away? Leaving half the bell was always going to raise questions. Yes, well, it was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning, and the cabin would have been dark. The single small lamp suspended from the ceiling would barely have cast any light on the floor there. Little wonder that the culprit failed to notice a fragment of the tiny item. You all suspect me, don't you? Alright guys, I'm sorry, but we have to stop that part here. So, thank you all so much for watching. If you're enjoying this so far, remember to like, comment, share, or subscribe. And until then, guys, I will see you all later. Goodbye.